aggressive behaviors, because if they do, Napier's definitely going to struggle a bit more than usual.
Yeah, definitely so. Let's see which map we're going to be playing on, actually. I'm quite curious for this one. It'll be our final map for the phase, the stage, and the season, so I'm quite curious. Bring it up, production. Let's see which map would it be on. And there it is, Cafe Dostoyevsky.
Yeah.
Villa banned out by Xavier. Talon removing Clubhouse, which, you know, obviously a map that Xavier usually is very comfortable on. Doesn't make a lot of sense from the numbers perspective, though, between these two.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll chime in first and say that these teams have one thing in common. They both destroyed Electrify on Cafe. That said, Xavier
the bar is that low, okay?
Talon is 7-3. And we've also seen some losses in the national leagues of each respective team. So Xavier lost this to Q Confirm in the Thai Operations League, but keep in mind that the national leagues aren't as important as APAC North. So I would go so far as to say that Xavier weren't necessarily trying as hard against Q Confirm there as they were, for example, in some of their other games. And we've seen them defeat teams like Fav and Electrify on this map really convincingly. Talon, jury's still out. They've had some losses. Mostly I would look at GC Busan, they lost to, but in the Korean Summer Open semi-final. But that was a close game. So I think this is a good map for both teams.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, you know, Talon have banned it a decent amount, so I don't think they particularly like this map necessarily. But yeah, in the last couple of months, they've got 3 wins, 3 losses. As you say, James, their losses have been to GC Busan, Fav, and Cloud9. Fav and Cloud9 have been historically very strong teams. And I've said it before, but Cloud9 have always been kind of the Korean kryptonite for Talon. They've never really been able to beat them, whereas they've been able to best all of the other big Korean teams. But then they beat Norarengo, they beat Electrify, and they beat another Korean team called Wales. So, you know, it could go one way or the other. I think it favors Xavier purely because I think Xavier have more versatility in the way that they play, and they have more of a chance of catching Talon out. But yeah.
All right, Gio, James, thank you so much for being here. It's the last pre-game analysis we're gonna do for the regular show. I know.
Ever.
I mean, is this how you tell me that I'm fired? Yeah. That's not the way I wanted to find out.
Production couldn't break it, didn't have the heart to break it to you, so they left it to me and Gio, all right?
Fair enough.
I'm sorry we
I
had
didn't
to have
have a
this
heart,
conversation.
so I said I would do it.
You never do. No.
She volunteered.
That's what I've been told. It's milk and nothing else. Gio, Dev, thank you so much for all the information that you just divulged to us on the show. It's time to kick it off to our casters. I think there's only one way to do it here. Xavier and Talon. It's Xavier fighting, Talon fighting. Hajime, let's go!
Thank you for that innovating intro really coming through. And it's not only the last, well, pre-show of Tier 1 Siege this year, as in like the regular stages, it's also the last broadcast coming up right now, the last test, Fluke. We get the honor to do it. We get the honor to either see either of these teams win and potentially one climbing out of relegations.
Yeah, here we are, Cafe, one last dance, one last hurrah. Thank you very much, team on the desk. I promise everything said was an in-joke. Now, Xavier versus Talon, 2 teams that I love. And why do I love them? Because for me, these are 2 teams that surprised me because I didn't really know what they were like before. Obviously, we got the APAC North, but because they're so aggressive, they have all these players that just bring this power, this pace, and this passion towards good maps. And I'm kind of curious to see how these two always bump heads, because they're also teams that sometimes get a little bit downtrodden. A couple of players can't quite hit, and if any team was going to ban Ash against a kind of game here, this is it. These are 2 just sharp, aggressive potential teams, and I'm really hoping that they lead into that, and have a hyper-aggressive match here.
Thing is, Talon is learning how to perfect their normal siege playstyle. You know, you expect like they go for a roam clear first, then they open up the wall, then they start going for the execute. But then you're coming up against Xavier in your last game of the season, throwing a Cash Jagerban at you first of all, and then they will be going probably hyper aggressive, bringing all kinds of weird stuff, jumping out of all these windows, because that is what they do. That is how they managed to surprise Giants in stage 1 by running a pulse shotgun on coastline, jumping out of every window they could find. And it's a playstyle they have been implementing ever so often. You cannot really count them out. they will do weird stuff. And they will make it work.
That's it. An Ash Jaeger ban, I mean, alright, it makes a lot of sense for some teams. Because you're looking at the utility cost, you're looking at the utility burn. Sure, there is more and more of a precedence and a prevalence of getting through shields, getting through ADSs, yada yada. That's the kind of way of everything swinging. But also, you got to take into consideration one thing. There's Ying. Now, obviously, the Warden is 6th picked in there, but the pace that you can apply Ying against a Wamai versus a Jaeger is obviously much quicker. You can burn those 2 that you'll probably have, maybe 3, depending on how slow they are to get to the point, but then it's quick, quick, quick. It's an immediate collapse on pace, and they really don't have any other support anywhere else. With Jaeger, obviously, you have the ability to facilitate a little bit more of your solidity. Everything you put forward is up front, so it can really dictate and change the pace and how comfortable people feel, especially when you know exactly where they're generally going to be playing, and that is on Pixel. That is waiting for the approach from those Christmassy windows.
And that's the thing, right? We almost never see a Jaeger ban to come through. It's almost always a Wamai ban if we see one of the 2 projectile capturing operators removed. And it's due to the fact, probably, that Wamai is just easily to be, well, outmanned, outgunned, and outmatched, considering the fact that you only need to throw in 2 projectiles at the start of the round, maybe 3 if you're a bit slower. You're going to be able to instantly take down the shield he's playing behind it. You can take control over whatever he was holding, really. Whilst the Jaeger is going to be having the opportunity to put down all those devices from the start of the round, making it a lot harder. So banning a Jaeger should be indicating an aggressive and high-paced kind of game style.
And, well, look at this. This is aggressive high pace. They're popping all of the drop downs as quickly as they can and getting themselves eyes in and eyes down to make sure that they have the lockdown here, the red stairs. They're covered. And the drones can start making their way towards those lovely piano and behind the little bar just round the corner. They obviously have the potential to open themselves the rotate. Recent nerf, but not enough to stop what they want to plan and attack here. As we hear the pops going off, it's going to open up an important angle, but also a rotation. However, the confidence of the drop needs to be cleared to make sure nobody is close on that new balcony to swing round. Tomorrow, as I said, is playing on Pixel. He's behind a shield that, if destroyed, will force him back and cause a bit of a fiery hellscape, so he's got to play this perfectly. Here comes the ADS burn. There goes Soldier underneath in pillars.
Setting himself up to go for a potential C4 as Xavier is starting to get themselves around the side. Flashbangs now will be tossed in. Although my discs are gone, he is pretty blind as he's like, you know, bumping into the couch and into the bench and into the pillows and everything he could possibly find. However, the shield hasn't been taken out yet, and that means that there's an opportunity for him to retake that position, but there's a more imminent threat. And that is the smoke canisters to now come out to drop out any form of rotation. The flashbangs to come in. Luckily, Talon have a warden available to them that's going to be able to look through the smoke and, well, not really get flashed by those candelas to come in. And that will basically mitigate the risk that Talon is taking in this round.
Safe specs, always important, and make sure that he doesn't catch anything, especially those candelas. BD gets the opener. As an APU goes down, that's just a sphere off the board. That's still a lot of shields left standing, and that's still a lot of possibility of stuff they've got to try and break through. Whether the Maestro cams are still standing or not, couldn't tell you. But Malusi, oh well, they're definitely not standing, and neither are they. Onigiri cruises through the bathroom and finds a double for the trouble and hits it with a skeleton key. The key led to the opener, and the opener has led to a further push round the backside. Is closed down by Scatman with Onigiri down the white corridor, being the core of that push.
Normally the skeleton key, I would say, don't use it for anti-personnel. Use it to open up these walls, because it's supposed to be a key to every single site you would like to find yourself on, to every single wall to open it up. And, well, it used to be the actual key here to open up the site. Not the walls, but rather the players near it. And thus, you find yourselves at round one for Xavier. Even though they managed to hold down on the initial push quite well. The smokes and candelas weren't really followed up by an instant push. However, it really did come down to those last dying seconds where they managed to still make it work.
Second attempt, and they're going to head down to kitchen service instead. Not going to risk the double down, and the change from the candelas to the Twitch, I think, is probably a smart move. Okay, the 6th pick has potentially baited the possibility of them 6th picking Warden again. It was successful, so I guess in the minds of Xavier, like, yeah, we can maybe push them towards this and take something out and then we'll swap off anyway, because for Xavier, yeah, they won the round, but I wouldn't say the Candelas were massively useful. They were able to just push and pressure Talon off their own defenses and go from that point onwards with their pretty quick gun skill. Obviously, as we saw and said, led around with the shotgun slash whatever they decided to use in the end. Super Onigiri doing what he does best, putting bodies down. So, play the game. Play against it. Try different things. Candelas, they weren't quite working. Bring something else.
And now you keep the fear inside of the players at Talon that you might be bringing a Ying anytime again this matchup. Yes, of course it didn't work. You still won the round, however. They're choosing to actually not go for a warning now this time, due to the fact that the Candela, the Ying, of course, will not be there. But I have a feeling it will return at some point. Xavier are not one to give up quickly on their strategies, and they often like to revisit. Keep rotating certain operators in and out. All that kind of stuff. Just to keep your enemies on their toes, make sure that they stay alert and they are able to respond. And just maybe find them in a off situation.
Tomorrow playing on the top floor again. If we're going to talk about how Talon can be aggressive, he is a player that often very much is. He has been quite frequent in being able to get into their opponents, and well, he's only going to have a certain amount of time as Labyrinth gets entirely flashed out. The drones give, I guess, the game away, and Napier is cut down by Labyrinth, who just holds the click and cuts through. They're concerned about someone around the backside. The Goyo's popped, but they've got the pressure on Super Onigiri. They might not know that someone's close. They do now. The ping came through, but DCH with the F2 gets one more flashes, but they're still not entirely convinced. Now they are, and now they are in prep room as they just careen their way immediately through, leading still with the skeleton key. Unfortunately, BD was locked and locked down as he stops any further progression. A minute 30 though, and they've already put a lot of dents into the bodies of those on defense.
I was just reading in on the actual on the skeleton key description, and it literally says it allows Buck to swiftly breach and target hostiles. It's exactly what Onigiri is doing here, swiftly targeting these hostiles left, right, and center, able to make an opening happen. Unfortunately for him, he wasn't able to pick up the second one here, and all that basically puts Xavier in a bit of a tough situation where they now find themselves in a 3v3 situation, but not really that much control as another kill comes in tomorrow with a beautiful headshot vertically through the breach. Is going to be able to pick Redson and leaves it all up to Scatman and DCH, who are opening up the site right now. Scatman found himself a way in from the back and now is holding off to the flanks. Doesn't know where Soldier is, but there is an opportunity to try and go for a plant.
As I said, Tomorrow can famously strike from the back, and he's looking to do just that as he creeps down that main core yellow stair set. Pre-fires come through, and the diffuser is being planted. Tomorrow's actually rotated around to white. He's getting pings, he's getting consistency, and he has a straight route through, but oh no! There's a man facing you, and there's the other. DCH locks it down, and Xavier, 2 in a row.
So smartly played here, able to spot out. There's a rotation in Freezer, using that to your advantage, sneaking in and pick up a kill, opening up the site. And Xavier are able to get the second round in a row. Started off with the skeleton key from Onigiri, opening up right behind the cupcakes after, well, flashbangs, there we go, completely blinded the Maestro. But of course you have that 84 round magazine. You're going to be able to you just joined back in time. Got fused. We're just going to use the 6-pick here, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Here we have it. 3, 2. All right, okay, I was going to be afraid that they were actually going to stick it.
But you were right. And hey, credit to Redson. In and out, dipped out.
Just quickly, I don't know why would, maybe a quick crash or connection error quickly fixed.
That was a crash. I want to know what drive he's using. I want to get that.
I want to know his exact
I want to get that drive.
I want to be that fast on launching. Oh,
they're keeping the site rotation.
2-0.
I will say
they're keeping it up. That's good though. I know there's many, I believe for example, Demo isn't a big fan of teams keeping on rotating after they lose a site. He likes them to try again, but I think it's a good thing to do because you're going to be able to stick in your momentum the way you practice your sites as well, or the way it should be going when you're winning. And if you're always going to be in the same mentality, there's nothing stopping you rather than just your strategies or individual skill.
Now then, let's see if Talon can dig themselves in. To be fair, the last one came down to a 2 versus 2. It wasn't the most far-fetched situation for them to be able to pull something, and obviously if they'd been a bit more aware of the body watching the back rotation and hadn't fallen for the trap that, I guess in a way, had been set for them based on their own schematics, they might have been in a slightly different position and might have been able to find one. It was close, and it shows for me the idea that Talon are waking up a little bit. Obviously, again, as I cited before, and a couple times throughout this season, tomorrow is a bit of a factor in how the round starts to go, but it in no way means the rest of the Talon players can't start things off on the right foot. Hello, PMW, that twice. You've been in this kind of initial confrontation. It's the first time you've been able to lock the kill down from it, though, which is probably the more important factor.
Cameras being spotted out. DCH looking to take that top floor control. As of course they know as well that the rota continues. Gonna have to find their way in. Seems to be coming from the piano side as Onigiri gets himself up onto a rappel, onto the little bar rappel. It's gonna be going off quite quickly as Redson now will be finishing off PMW. Started the job that Napew basically tried to achieve. As we continue now. New jammers are being taken out. Miss Taser, unfortunately, they recharge quite slowly, meaning that it will be parked for a little bit, so it can continue to sight afterwards.
Bomb located by attackers.
Now, as they steadily make their approach and start to push their way towards pillars, drop the default, and, well, a bit of coordination and control stops them being swung out. We can still see the body on the top floor. Obviously, it's Soldier, and it means that they can't be as adamant to swing out. We just heard a second air jab pop off to cover another bit of rotation, and I guess it just limits that body inside. Seemingly aware of the camera, the Maestro cam, that's keeping a keen eye down from the top balcony, and, well, it's going to limit some of what they do. However, there is a steadily approaching body or two above.
Need to get rid of that Mew Jammer now. As you just saw there, the Selmas are being blocked off as Scatman gets a beautiful kill. The vertical now being held here, and they also notice, they are aware of this, and they have it. The Mew Jammer is gone, the Selmas will pop off, there's a complete opening now, and a player blind on the ground will be spotted out by this drone, and that means a pre-fire should be coming in. No, somehow didn't get the call, not quite sure what happened there. However, there is a response, Scatman able to find him. Soldier now on the top floor will be hunted down as well by DCH, and now we have the last kill to come through. The man who was spotted beforehand to be prone on the ground and flashed from the start, as Onigiri moves in, just cleans him up.
An exceptional map clear so far is coming out from the guns of Xavier. They know exactly what they want to take control of, and okay, there is the balance of this aggressive gun skill I've talked about before, where we're seeing it from players like Super Onigiri with the Buck, who is just going point A to point B and stopping anyone and everyone that is in the way. It's a lead-in. It's the first step in seemingly some of their attacks, but when it's this effective, and Scatman hasn't even died yet, oh, neither has DCH, things are working very well, and that is built upon the information they are collecting, the knowledge that the firefights they are getting into, not only are they going to win on this gun skill, on this pace, and on this ability to get the one-up over their opponents, but knowing where their opponents are and knowing how they can pick up the second or the trade or the follow-through and the thread that they can kind of link towards all these defenders.
Again, we see the Warden coming out due to the fear, as they are back upstairs, that there might be a potential yank. Now it won't be there this time. Xavier opting to choose different operators. We see the Amaru making play, and could be used to go up to, well, the cocktail balcony up on the eastern side. Cause a little bit of a punch there, maybe cause some chaos as the execute would happen. Because often when you rappel in, it is going to be turning the guns towards that direction, because that is a direct threat and it allows all your teammates to continue moving through. I know we often joke about how Amaru is a 4v5 operator, especially if you rappel into the site quite early on. Yes, that is the case, but if you use it to create extra chaos and potentially even pick up a kill, you might be able to get a better execute out of it rather than all attacking from the same site.
Oh, Napew is going to go for something pretty big here. Obviously, they're a player that's talked about how well they can kill people. And so far, seeing them not on the board so much, hey, it's something. But at the same time, you look at where everybody else is and it's like, okay, that's just the way Xavier's game is working today. And that's just the others popping off big and bold and brash. So what's big and bold and brash? Well, Amaru, through a window and seeing if you can swing immediately onto the bodies. They know the ping, they know somebody's up there, they know there's some power and control, and they want to make sure that they have the drop and the angle here before they throw themselves all the way through. They need attention drawn away from this location before they make their way onto and on their way through. Maestro's keeping a keen eye, but, well, it takes more than just a distraction to get this gun round the back.
Nephew ready, waiting for the right call. He's waiting for the moment where he can use the grappling hook. As now pressure is being put down by Onagiri. You see him wait till the moment where Xavier is deciding this is our execute, this is the moment we go. And look at that, only Labyrinth is on site. The drone is giving away his position now, and they're just probably going to be trying to flush him into the other side of the map before they're actually going to be going for it. There we go, flashbang, smoke canisters in. Nephew is in as well, is going to be able to not land the kill onto the Maestro, and eventually will lose his life right there. Labyrinth able to stand up, but the refrag's instantly there. The Fuser, however, will get dropped. We're in a 3v3 situation with about 80 seconds left, and then Onagiri is right now using the skeleton key again to rip through his opponents before he gets taken down by Soldier. And that leaves us in a very scrappy 1v2 situation here, where PMW is the last man standing.
Onagiri going in with the way of I can use this key to open up any door and or person is a big play, and in a post plant for a second time they're looking to try and swing on PMW. I said was usually the first confrontation, this time is the last, and the only one that has a hope of bringing us into at least some success for Talon, but he is entirely revealed, entirely picked. He's been able to rotate a little bit, but is still in a dead end with a body either side. He seems aware there's one playing the reverse of the shield, but it doesn't even matter. Redstone on the diffuser planted down is able to put an end to what was a very pointed attack, as we all saw and waited and kind of predicted. Yeah, it was to play the Amaru at the same time as a bit of pressure being applied to the rest of the site. They threw those flashes deep, the smokes too. What turned that into a success from Napier not being able to get the kill is that Xavier pushed alongside across the top. They didn't just hope that the Amaru was the whole plan. They had their backups, as I said, their trades and their positioning, and they just keep being able to lock off and finalize and get the ground under control that they need.
Exactly as I say. It's okay to rappel into the site, but just make sure that someone is going to be able to refrag you, because you're almost guaranteed to die. They know exactly where you're going to be coming from. So just make sure it's happening to create chaos and to allow for a potential refrag to come in. But it's not going to be brought out again, as Talon is currently 0-4 behind. They will be going to yet again the same floor, and thus breaking the site rotation they have been working on. They're continuing twice upstairs right now. And Xavier, they don't have the Amaru. This time they brought the which one did they actually bring that they didn't have last time? Was it Sophia? Sophia's it now.
Yeah, Sophia is the pickup change. Obviously Super Onagiri with the Buck doing wonders for Buck's pick rate right now. The operator who has dropped off since he dropped his frag grenades and couldn't find them again, he's having a bit of a show right now, and for very bloodthirsty reasons. As I said before, he's not just opening walls with the skeleton key, he's opening people as well, and it's the pace of the pressure that is the big part there. Now he's dancing and pre-firing pistol windows, and he's looking for a pistol kill from deep, and he actually lands a couple of shots into PMW.
Not enough to get the kill quite yet though, but Onagiri is not choosing to go for it. Many might be wondering why you're not using your C8. There's quite a bit of recoil on the C8. Yeah. It's probably better to use your pistol on that range, considering the fact that you're just going to have the same amount of view, considering the fact that I believe he's running the holographic, and you have a bit less recoil.
That's it. So it's same view, less recoil, and you're at that point, what you're going for is the headshot. You're going for a one hit that, you know, at least you can fire more through the window. Because that's all you can see in that situation, is usually just the head.
Normally you would just be challenging the head indeed, and like this he would be keeping the extra ammo in his actual C8 to allow for a bit more pre-fires to come through. Not that he really needs it, because we've seen him pre-fire with the skeleton key instead rather than the... it's a new way we see Buck. Normally we just see all the skeleton key ammo being used to open up barricades, to open up floorboards, to open up ceilings. But this time he's just using a couple of them and then using the last 2-3 remaining mags to entry frag. Buck, new entry frag is confirmed, having a C8, a really good rifle, but also a shotgun to back it up with.
It's a change for some of the stuff we've seen today, and Onigiri is seemingly moving with the blood of energy drinks currently. He is quick-paced. They know that PMW rotated around underneath, but whether they know where he's gone from that point onwards, they're definitely pre-firing the staircase where they believed he was last seen, and here they've been able to drop the shield onto Pixel, and they've got the Nomad locked onto the top of the staircase too, so they have the ability to try and pinch now, have the ability to try and apply this pressure, and Red Sun is going to be the start of that on potentially the opposite window. Waiting and baiting and going to try and air jab a body out in the corner as well. It gives them the potential to swing in and be not entirely untested, but Tomorrow is able to get the first with Onigiri hitting back almost instantly. A lot of pre-fires, but Onigiri's still doing what he's been doing so well so far. He fires again deep into the center core of this entire site, and PMW's the close quarters that might be able to stop him. There it doesn't go! A skeleton key yet again cuts through another man, and yet again he's taken control of wide, and yet again Xavier take another round.
I'm requesting a skeleton key montage. Just rather said, a Super Onigiri buck entry fragging montage, because that's all he's doing right now, picking up triple kill after triple kill. I want to see what the man's on. Can we get the scoreboard for a second, just to see? Because he's going absolutely ham on that buck. Look at that, 10 kills, a 2 KPR right now, just using that buck, using the C8 to get it with the skeleton key. It's a very diverse lineup, and I know people stopped picking him after there was no more grenades. But now Ash is banned. Keep that in mind. We're getting the buck to do the entry fragging. I'm loving this. It's actually really refreshing, and it's actually fun to watch as well. How Onigiri is just going absolute bonkers with the buck.
That's the thing as well here, is because the role that this buck is playing is he's playing on entry. He's not trying to open things structurally or tactically. He's digging in based on the information he's getting from the round, from the team. He's keeping it hot, keeping it live, and you can tell from his movements, from where he wants to be. That is very hard to try and stop. When a player is playing that well in a role that is that arguably uncontrollable, because it is something that is just thrown at you, and you have to outshoot it. You can't really try and build an entire defense in that quick pace around something that is both, in a way, uncontrollable, but at the same time, in a weird way, untested, because it's a buck that's entry fragging for the first time in a very long time. It's the first thing you see is a skeleton key, and it's able to open up all the angles to its heart's desire. I mean, it's 5 rounds deep, and we're currently looking at a man who has the entire kill rate of the opposing team. He's having a storm.
Like, what is your biggest fear as an entry fragger? I would say it's a shotgun waiting around the corner taking you out. Now, how does Onigiri decide to fight that? Bring his own shotgun to the battle. Just be a bit quicker on the trigger and take them down like that. The close range he's working with, it makes it work, because there's a big drop-off on that skeleton key. The pallets do an initial 60 points of damage per shot, but it drops off really quickly. So you need to make sure that if you're going for anti-personnel, you need to do it on close range. You cannot do it on the same range as, for example, the M59, but it does add diversity to the lineup that he has, right? It does bring diversity to his utility, and it allows him to go for these kind of entries like we just seen, as Redson in the meantime is going to be able to get up the entry frag. It's BMW removed, who was playing behind that Falcon shield, and it's forcing Tomorrow now to fall back. Don't reinforce this. Thank you.
Didn't throw his life away, and well, the bakery has fallen to Napier. They've pushed in, but there's Tomorrow to make sure he doesn't get any of the delicious baked goods, and he's going to pre-fire through the wall based on the intel information and see if he can pop a second. The Selma charges are going to pop the angle of their own, and that is prep now opened with another pair of blowing open bakery steadily. 2, it's all a flat line and a front run here now, and they're going to start their rotation round to the back and pinch onto Freezer. They have some reverse angles that they can play. They have an idea of where someone is on the back, and Tomorrow has gone down deep to the buck. Another one falls. Tomorrow locked off, and Onigiri's talent just keeps on growing.
Another kill coming in, this time from the back. DCH moving in with the F2. Also a very good gun with a bit of recoil. It takes a bit of skill to use. Another one comes in. DCH picks it up, and it's all up to Leber, and it's now he's on the brown stairs coming down. Might be coming in the flank of the Twitch right here. Will be spotted out, but DCH not able to land the kill. And there we have it. Onigiri with the C8 is going to be able to close it all up. Then uses some extra, skeleton key shots just for the art of it. But it is absolutely a man on the tear right here. Xavier is onto something new. And I wouldn't be surprised if after this we will see more teams using the buck like it's being used here today, because we barely see him anymore. And if it is, it's just to boringly open up from below. But I'm absolutely loving this style of game style. This, like we said it before, Xavier, they do weird stuff, but they make it work.
They do.
Buck entry frag, and now you think about it, it doesn't even sound that crazy.
The thing is, with what they do is they do it with confidence. 6th pick on the Echo, they've called it. It was a random, and that's Red Sun. He's just making sure, just letting them know. You have a look at what he's doing, though, with it, and it takes confidence. Because if you falter and if you flinch for even a moment with an entry frag on a gun like Buck, as we've already talked about, it's not the easiest gun to control. Compared to some of the other ones that get bought in that role, in those kind of quick, tense firefights, and the way he was jumping between the skeleton key and the gun itself, too, to be able to balance and alleviate the stresses and pressures, it's all confidence. And confidence leads to kills. And if you try this at home, try it guns blazing, because that's probably the only real way you'll have some proper, true, super onigiri 12-2 success. Now, we've obviously got to see if the story carries over onto the defense. They're taking the top floor. They only need one to lock off a very quick game so far. Let's see if Talon can find a little bit left in the canisters.
Sometimes we're having issues reaching our end of broadcast time, which is 6 p.m. CEST. We're 45 minutes early. Onigiri, you're making us be ahead of schedule like this, as he is 12-2. It's not going to be running that buck anymore. We're not seeing it coming back on Talon's side. They're choosing to go for a different lineup. We see the Twitch, we see the Sledge, and that will most likely be the replacement as well, that Sledge, compared to the buck.
This may be one of the first times so far we've not seen Glaz in a game yet as well. Obviously, with his recent buffs, we've had a couple of teams flirt with the idea in the meta. Generally not successful, but obviously there's been a few exceptions to the rule, and I guess if a team's got an idea and a bit of chutzpah, they can make anything work. But here, we are looking towards something a little bit more tried true on old school as they set themselves up in the current push here. Droning slow and steady. Now compare this to Xavier, who, well, we saw a buck dancing around and already pre-firing down the red staircase at this point to see if he could catch anybody that was a little bit close. Here, from Talon, it's slower, steadier drones, intel, information, a C4, and goodbye PMW.
Onigiri follows up, will be able to take the kill down into tomorrow. That is your Sledge gone. Napier follows up with a kill from underneath the hatch to going super aggressive. Now another one to come in. Napier popping off this round, and it's all up to Soldier now in a 1v4 situation. And I might have to remind you, if they lose this, they might relegate. As soon as this matchup is gone, I'm going to quickly do the maths, but it's all up to Soldier for now. In a 1v3 situation, able to pick up yet another kill. Napier will go down, but you're still up against an Alda. You're still up against DCH, and you're still up against Red Sun, who are all hidden inside the sides and inside a piano. There's almost nowhere he can go.
Well, he's up against a bit of the world right now, but he's at least killed Super Onigiri, who at points seemed unkillable. Bounces a flash round to make sure he doesn't get swung on the entrance, and with a minute on he has time, but he has no drones, no intel, and no resources left, apart from the gun that he's got to wield and try and wield his way through. The cam will give the game away on the entrance. There's the zaps coming through too, just to make sure that they know he's being watched. He's shooting through the Banshee, sees that close corners come, they swing round the other side. DCH ends it with a shotgun for a game that was led and dictated by it. Credit, Xavier. I said you're an aggressive team, and you lived up to it.
I think they did more than living up to it. I think they have showed us something new, something we previously wouldn't have expected to talk about when a buck is on the board. They showed us that buck can be an entry fragger, using that shotgun anti-personnel, using your C8 first of all to deal with the long angles, then swinging close onto the places where you know players will be in the corners with that skeleton key. Absolutely beautifully played. Super Onigiri, he definitely won my heart today, I have to say, with that play. That's
I think you won all of their hearts. Now, talking of a chef, for one last time, let's throw it over to the desk. Big Milosh Energy, take it away.
Thanks so much.
See my brand.
What? What did you say?